I kick ass for the Lord.
What about me?
I never loved him the way that I love you. Just drops the mic.
Fit me with his butt.
Can't see it from here.
What about the panty?
What about the panty? What's up, Butters? It tricks me every time. What's up, my Goombas? My Cooper Troopers? What is going on? And I hope you all are having a great weekend so far, as I am having a great weekend so far. Welcome into 52/1993, the movie conversation podcast / vodcast, whatever you want to call it, about movies from the year 1993. We watch 52 of them, so you don't have to, or you can follow along because you want to. We talk about important movies from this year by their weekend releases. Doesn't matter if they're good, doesn't matter if they're bad, and I usually have a co-host with me. I stopped calling them guests. I'm just gonna call them co-hosts because they're that important to me. And we talk about the movie, and then we'll talk to them about some of their movies, interests, and maybe ask some questions, maybe do some rankings. It's whatever I'm feeling like, and it's not what's important to you. It's important to me. And usually we have these people on here, and they're my friends, and you can shut up about it, okay? So today we're going to be talking about a very important movie from my childhood, very important movie for a lot of people's childhood that grew up in the 90s. And I know it was an important movie for my co-host. And we'll go ahead and bring him in here. He's the Mario to my Luigi. He would say Luigi to my Mario just because that's how nice of a person he is. He is the Peach to my Daisy. We'll bring him in here. It is my favorite plumber and yours. It's Joseph. Let's bring him in here. Hey, Joseph. Hopefully you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can. And you look great.
Thanks, man. I would like to first point out that I'm wearing green. I don't know what color you're wearing.
I'm wearing red. Kind of funny.
So I think we know who's who in this situation.
Well, welcome in. I know we've kind of briefly talked about this movie and how different it was when we watched it when we were children to when we watched it now, and I look forward to talking about that with you. But before we get into that, let's go through all the nitty-gritty details of Super Mario Brothers. This movie was released 2 days after Menace to Society. Very similar movies. This one was released on May 28th, 1993. It was directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton. More to come on them. It was written by Parker Bennett, Terry Runte, and Ed Solomon. And it stars Bob Hoskins as Mario, John Leguizamo as Luigi, Dennis Hopper as Koopa, Samantha Mathis as Daisy, Fisher Stevens as Iggy, Richard Edson as Spike, Fiona Shaw as Lena. A couple other names to put in here with much smaller roles, but I still want to talk about them. Francesca Roberts plays Bertha, and Lance Henriksen in a very, very small role as King Bowser, which is kind of confusing, but that's how he's listed here. I'll give you a synopsis. Brooklyn plumbers Mario and Luigi get the shock of their lives when they discover a parallel world populated by the intelligent descendants of dinosaurs. It seems they weren't destroyed by a meteor millions of years ago, but hurled into another dimension. And now they have plans to rule our world. It's up to our unlikely heroes to battle the evil King Koopa and his Goomba guards. Free the beautiful Princess Daisy and save mankind in this adventure of a lifetime. That's actually one of the more solid synopses that we've read on here. It kind of is accurate. This movie had a budget, couldn't quite nail it down, between $42 and $48 million, and a box office return of $38.9 million. The Rotten Tomatoes score was 29% and an IMDb score of 4.1 out of 10. I do know that Siskel and Ebert both hated this movie. I couldn't find their writings on this movie. Just they only reviewed it on there, but they gave it 2 thumbs down. But I'll read a couple of other reviews that I have here. This movie, which was directed by music video whiz kids Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel, is sweet and funny and full of bright invention. In short, it's a blast. Hal Hinson of the Washington Post, he might not have a job anymore. He might be dead. Who knows? But this one, I kind of agree with. This movie is the trailer, shown over and over and over again. Hollis Chacona, Austin Chronicle gave it a 1.5 out of 5. And now it comes to Luigi over here. Joseph, what was your initial reaction, response to this movie?
Yeah, I had a different idea in my head of what this movie was, just from watching it as a kid. Going back, I did not enjoy this movie. It was a complete mess. So yeah, just overall, would probably not watch it again. I didn't enjoy it that much. So
Yeah, I think I'm a little disappointed in this one. I had really high hopes that maybe that childhood nostalgia would kick in for me because I loved this movie when I was a kid. I loved this movie so much. And this one was not good, in my opinion.
no,
No, not at all. Somebody in the chat called you
nostalgia
Joey
can only do so much.
Joey, and that would I don't have a fun one. Yeah, I don't know. I remember having this movie on VHS, and for whatever reason, I don't have it playing in the background. That reminds me, I don't have a movie playing in the background, even though I had one queued up. I'm pretty much slacking on this. I was gonna queue up Who Framed Roger Rabbit with Bob Hoskins,
Hey,
which is
nice.
I would say he's kind of going for the same, almost same character in this movie as he did in that movie. But yeah, I remember I have a dumb short story that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today. But my mom used to work for this company called Airborne Express, and they carried a lot of like freight or mail that would go places. It was like a FedEx or any of those things. But anyway, sometimes boxes would get broken and they wouldn't ship out, and like stuff would fall out of the boxes, and they would get damaged, so they wouldn't give those to the people that they were intended, and they would just sell them in this company's store. And that is how I got access to I guess an early VHS copy of Super Mario Brothers. It was called a demo tape, and it was a popular thing, I guess, from video rental stores. They would get these demo tapes to determine whether or not they wanted to get more stock of that particular movie. And so I had a bunch of movies like this when I was growing up, and they all had this thing at the bottom of the that ran through the entire movie. It was like it was scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It was like, this is a demo tape, not meant to be sold. And it would that's how I remember watching this movie. So I have to
That would drive me crazy.
Oh yeah. I didn't care though. I was a kid. I just wanted to see Mario and Luigi, a game that I wasn't even good at. So let's were you a Mario player?
Yes. So let's see. I think we had an NES at some point along the way. So like the first like Super Mario Brothers game was played pretty heavily.
Okay.
Or maybe it was the third one I think the third one is the one that we played like a ton. The third one is the one where you have like the warp whistles and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the best one.
Okay, yeah, that's the one we played a lot. But I do remember playing like the first one a decent amount. The second one, like maybe here and there, but not really like a whole lot. That's the one that's like
That's
really
the
weird.
turnip one.
The turnip, yeah, that one.
Yeah, I wasn't really much of a video game player. Hard to believe with all of the skills I have playing video games now. I know, but yeah, I didn't have an NES and SNES. I didn't have any of these things. The only thing I had was things that my dad would pick up at garage sales. So I had a ColecoVision, which is like knockoff Atari.
Nice.
And the only time I played Donkey Kong on that, it was a like number pad and turny wheel controller. That was my first video game system. It was bizarre. It looked like a
Ugh.
car phone kind of thing. And yeah, that was my first thing into video games. But yeah, I would go over to my cousin's house and play Mario, and I would be trash at it. I tell you all the time I hate platformers, and Mario is an ultimate platformer, and I'm terrible at it. But I have a lot of respect for Mario. He's the OG.
He is. He's the OG. He's
And
like the Mickey Mouse of
Yeah.
video games.
he is. And he's, very popular for Italian representation.
Right. Yes.
That
Because of the mustache and the plumber outfit.
Are Italians a lot of plumber? I don't know. I don't want to make any broad stroke statements here about it because they don't eat pizza. I mean,
They don't.
or pasta, or I guess
It's just because his name's Mario. I guess.
I guess
Italian name.
it's just the names. I'm not gonna reach out to. I'm not gonna try and piss off any Italians today. Not today, anyway.
Not today.
Let's get into this movie though. In this trash can of a movie, we are introduced to this movie with I don't even know, like this animated scene with a dinosaur, which is
Yeah. Not quite 8-bit, but pretty close.
Yeah. We get a narrator. It's narrated by the guy that voiced Homer Simpson, Dan Castellaneta, giving us the backstory of this. That a meteor hit Manhattan 65 million years ago and basically created an alternate dimension underneath New York proper, and it's called Dino Hatton.
Dino Hatton.
It's so stupid. I hate this movie. I hate it so much. Then we're quickly introduced to, Mario and Luigi. They're plumbers. We also have this introduction of Daisy, who's this we get an introduction to Daisy early on. Her mom leaves her on the steps of a Catholic church, and these nuns take her in, and you see this little meteorite rock, and then the mother of Daisy gets captured by Koopa. We all don't know any of these people yet, but that's how this movie starts.
Yeah. Like your classic, leave the kid, at the firehouse or church trope. But then the twist is it's like an egg.
Yeah.
Instead of a child. But then the egg hatches a child. So yeah,
I think I was convinced when this movie came out that that's how we were all born. We're from
giant eggs,
giant dinosaur eggs, and I think that comes from my sisters telling me that we came from eggs.
Probably, yeah. I mean, everything in the movies is true, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Other than that, we get set up in present day New York. Mario and Luigi, they're plumbers, down on their luck, plumbers. Who keep missing out on jobs to this other plot point that we have that kind of has resolution and doesn't get talked about in the middle. Scapelli. I wish I could do the rasp in his voice. It's so good, that growl he has. But they're always losing out to the Scapellis. Daisy's an NYU student who's digging up bones by the Brooklyn Bridge because, of course, that's where dinosaurs hung out. Famously
right.
in Manhattan. Somehow Daisy meets Luigi on the street, I guess, making a phone call.
Payphone, yeah.
Yeah, payphone. He sets up a date with her somehow. He just falls in love instantly, which I love.
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight. And one thing that John Leguizamo, I will note, I think John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins really go for it in this. I think everybody's going for it. I think they are all let's make the best of this.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think they do what they can with what they're given, and just try to be as good as they can.
What are your
that's the only thing, and it's not even great, but it's in the overall scheme of what all is happening, the acting, you're okay, it's at least passable. It's not like atrocious. So.
The only person I don't like in this movie, acting wise, is Daisy, is Samantha Mathis.
I knew you were gonna say that because I feel the same.
Yeah, I think everybody else is going for it. I don't know if she knows what movie she's in either. And I
think I read somewhere that she was like filming something else maybe at the same time, like secretly. So probably just super
probably
not invested.
Ferngully. She was the voice.
no, it was not Ferngully.
It wasn't Ferngully.
It wasn't Ferngully.
I loved Samantha Mathis. If there are people in the chat that like to see movies about some of these people, a classic Samantha Mathis movie to point people to is called Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater. It's like the original Manic Pixie Dream Girl character. I know there's a couple people in chat that know what I'm talking about there with that, but that is like the Samantha Mathis movie to me, but she sucks in this movie. And somebody in the chat mentioned too, why did they go with Daisy and not Peach? Maybe because a real person in real life is not named Peach and people can be named Daisy. I think that might be it.
Well, I'm not 100% on Mario lore, but Peach was Mario's girl or Mario's princess?
Yes, Peach is
So maybe
Mario's princess.
So maybe they had to do just some random other one for Luigi. I don't know.
I also am not up on my lore, but I do think Daisy was the OG princess.
Was she?
I think so. Somebody can correct me on that, please.
All I know is Peach. So it could be deep in the lore. I didn't look too much into it.
All right, Spencer, you're in charge. Look that up. See who the OG is. But we get this, and then they go on a date with Mario and not Peach. Instead, it's Daniela,
right?
Who's wonderful. I like, and we get a little bit more backstory about dinosaurs in Brooklyn, and
over Italian food.
Over Italian food, it's so good. It's so classic Mario. I mean, when I'm playing Mario games, this is exactly what I'm looking for. This one of my favorite lines from Mario happens during this scene where he is like dumbfounded with Daisy this entire time. Like he is so in love with her. He just like keeps agreeing with her or keeps like bringing up stuff where he says, wow, there were dinosaurs in Brooklyn. And Mario says, relax, Luigi. There used to be Dodgers here too, which I thought thought that was great. Daniela is kidnapped by Iggy and Squiggy. No, Iggy and Spike.
Spike and Iggy, yeah.
Spike and Iggy. A lot. I swear this is like the first 10 minutes of the movie. Daniela is kidnapped. The Scapellis sabotage the dig site. The Mario brothers fix it. They get knocked unconscious by Spike and Iggy, and then Daisy's kidnapped by them, and then we get the scene where there's like this portal, and one of the best things that I think Daisy does in this movie is how she says Luigi. Like she screams Luigi at least 10 times in this movie, and I believe her. I believe that she's wanting Luigi every time she screams his name. And they go through this portal into Dino Hatton, which is awesome.
Yeah, honestly, one of the cooler parts of the movie. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like kind of cool conceptually, but definitely not perfect. But
yeah, so Dino Hatton is like this gritty version of, grimier than New York City. It's more populated, I feel like, or closer together than Manhattan. It's Dino Hatton. I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect. Everybody down here is, instead of being evolved from apes, have been evolved from the dinosaurs. But they're all still human creatures at the same time. It's whatever. At this time, when somehow during the kidnapping and everything. Luigi grabs hold of the meteorite necklace that Daisy has on her neck, and once they get to Dino Hatton, they lose it to this lady named Bertha after getting attacked by random strangers.
Just a street brawl, because,
By
why not?
by a sweet old lady with a stun gun. I don't know. I don't even know
It's
what
a
to do.
mess.
I don't even know what to do with this movie. Mario and Luigi end up getting arrested after they meet a busker named Toad, who's singing protest songs about King Koopa. Toad is like a knockoff Tom Waits. Like they kind of look alike, but they couldn't afford Tom Waits, so they got this guy to play Toad. Yeah, Mario and Luigi get arrested for being plumbers. I loved every time that a wanted poster would come up and they would like searching for these plumbers. They don't know their names yet. So
Also, yeah, around that same time that Koopa, we get, introduced to Koopa, and like he's wanting to find the plumbers so they can get the rock or whatever, and they put out like a plumber alert, like that's like a common
plumber
thing
alert,
that
plumber
happens
alert.
a lot. It's like, put out the plumber alert. It's like, oh yeah, another one of these.
They
But-
hate It's almost like Hook, when he says, "I'm not a pirate, I'm a lawyer." It's like they've had
Yeah,
lawyers
yeah.
before. Kill the lawyer.
Kill the lawyer.
We
It's
should
like,
do Hook
yeah.
instead. Let's just subvert from this. Let's talk about Hook, the better movie.
I mean, yeah, but
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
that's not why we're here.
That's not why we're here today.
We're here to rip this movie apart.
That's right. I used to go around. I still sing Toad's song to this day. Like, it is one part of this movie that has stuck with me since 1990.
Let's hear it.
Ain't got no water anywhere. Food is bad, so's the air.
Oh my gosh. Which, I mean, playing the Mario games, that's exactly what you would think of like the Toad character in the real world, right?
I don't know where they came up with any of the character design in this movie. I mean, I understand trying to make a like real life looking movie with humans and everything, but like Toad was human and then gets transformed into a Goomba, which the Goombas are something else to talk about in this movie. These small-headed dino creatures that I don't even know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Mario and Luigi get arrested. And they meet King Koopa, who's pretending to be their lawyer,
Right?
Larry Lazard of Lazard, Condadactyl, and I don't even know what he says. I like that. Again, Dennis Hopper's committed to this role. And he's pretending to be their lawyer to try and get the rock so that they can merge the worlds so that Dino Hatton can take over Manhattan. We get
But
that.
why? What's the point of him pretending to be the lawyer? Like, what? I mean, he's already like dictator or ruler or whatever. Why not just like bring them to his tower and say, "Hey, where's the rock?"
I think-
Instead, he like has this like 2 seconds where he's pretending to be their lawyer. That makes no sense.
It
Like, I
doesn't
don't
make
know.
any sense. I mean,
He doesn't even like schmooze them or anything. He's just like, "Where's the rock?" You
where's
know,
the rock? And they're like, "What are you talking about?" They don't
Yeah.
know.
doesn't
They-
make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And then I think we get the defungusing scene, and like they're going to jail after they find out that this guy's Koopa and that what they're looking for, and where's Daisy, where's the rock, all this stuff. And we get the de-evolution scene, which I remember vividly as a child as well. Toad gets de-evolved into a Goomba. And promptly after becoming these Goomba creatures, they give him a harmonica, I guess, to make him happy.
Keep it going. Got to keep the music going.
They do appreciate. That's one thing that Goombas do appreciate is art and supporting artists. So they give him a harmonica to
We need a Goomba movie. Like, I want to just like,
straight
I just want
Goombas.
to know about the Goombas.
I would love a Goomba movie.
Meg,
We also get the scene where this is one of the funnier parts of the movie to me, and maybe it isn't to you, but the guy's checking them in, and he asks for their name, and he goes Mario, and he goes last name Mario, and you
Mario.
Luigi? No, Luigi Mario. Okay, how many Marios are there between the two of you? Three. Mario, and Luigi Mario. Which I thought this was really clever because they're called the Super Mario Brothers. And
Right. Like it should be their last name.
Yeah, but we get Mario and Luigi. So I thought this
It was fun. It was a funny moment.
Yeah, I thought that was clever. I will not give this movie that much credit for cool things though.
Mm-mm.
But
you gotta acknowledge it when it's there because it was kind of so scant throughout. So
exactly, they escape from jail, and you get this like 10-minute car chase, which is actually I think it's a lot of fun. You get to see the set design and like the stunts and stuff like that. It's kind of impressive to me. Again, I'm giving this movie a lot of credit.
Yeah.
They were committed. They were. They put out another APB on the plumbers, more plumber alerts. Or aliens. It's an alien alert. And then Luigi comes back with, aliens? We got to deal with aliens too? And then Mario says, Luigi, we are the aliens.
We are the aliens, yeah.
And then Luigi's response, again, because he's just fascinated with everything in this movie, he just goes, we are? Wow, cool. Also, one thing I want to point out is the Mario Luigi handshake. I wish we were in the same room so we could.
It was so late, right? Like I feel like maybe I missed it early on, but I feel like we didn't get the handshake till like at least halfway through the movie.
The first time we get it, and I think I looked at this just because I was like, wow, this was 40 minutes into this movie. The car chase scene is 40 minutes into this movie, and they're in the police car, and they glug, 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 whatever it is. Glug, 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 glug.
If you're going to establish a cool handshake, like that needs to be like out the gate, you know? Like, I don't know.
I want to glug, glug with a lot of my friends, you know?
You should.
I want to glug glug with you right now.
I mean, it was a pretty good handshake, but like,
where does it come from?
It's just everything was just so jumbled. Like, it's just another example of like, well, why didn't you do that before and more? Like, I mean, I think we see it at least a couple times after this, but like, why did we have to wait so long in the movie till we see like their iconic handshake?
Also, I didn't even think about that. Give me that Cody Glug Glug, that Glug Glug 9000.
Yeah, we might want to. Can we chop that out of the?
Cut that.
Cut that.
I need an editor quick. What's the age discrepancy between Mario and Luigi? Because I feel like Mario is like 50, and Luigi is like 20. If that, like 21 maybe.
Yeah, they seem like very different in age, but they're like, so we find out later that like Luigi is, well, no, we've already found out at this point. I think it was like back at the dinner scene.
Yeah, it's at the dinner scene, yeah.
Yeah, because that was like a bonding point for him and Daisy. It's like, yeah. Oh, you're both like abandoned.
You don't know your parents too? Me too.
Me too. But yeah, it would seem like for him to like be identified as a brother, it has to at least be like kind of close in age, even though we don't really get that feel from their actions and kind of look. Otherwise, you would think like this is my adopted son, Luigi, you know, versus like brothers. So I think they have to be at least like maybe like 10-year span close or something like that.
I don't know.
Just a guess.
That was just like me. Now I'm being nitpicky and mean, but I was like, this guy's 50 years old and his younger brother is 20. Like
he does look like he could be his dad easily. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Not brothers. But I don't know. Maybe they just like wanted to be brothers more than like father son. Like maybe that was their desired relationship. I don't know.
It's like Jason. It's like Jason Mendoza and his dad, Donkey Doug.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like that then.
I just anytime I can fit in The Good Place, I know it pisses off Spencer so
I
much.
know.
Whenever I talk about The Good Place, I'm always gonna bring it up. It's my
I
favorite
know.
show. Donkey Doug. So the plumbers, Mario and Luigi. I don't know why I just called them the plumbers. They end up like getting saved by the. Also, there's Okay, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around. There's fungus all over this kingdom, and it's like half snot, half dried like skin looking stuff that's kind of sticky. It's gross.
Yeah.
It saves them because it catches their car that they go out into the desert. So they escape to the desert.
And we got like one inkling before this at some point where like the fungus was like trying to give them something,
It
or
just
like
keeps trying to give
it
them
dropped down.
bombs.
Yeah, it dropped down like a little bomb or something.
Yeah.
And like Luigi was like trying to tell Mario, like, hey, I think there's like, something going on with this fungus. And Mario's like, nah.
Just leave it alone.
Kind of the same thing, like when the car was like saved from a huge explosion, like 150-foot drop or something. And Luigi's like trying to tell him like, oh, the fungus like saved us, and Mario's just like, nah, skeptical, like,
Yeah.
no.
And
So,
yes, somebody in chat just said the fungus is sentient. Yes, the fungus knows
Yes.
a lot.
fungus does know a lot.
It keeps
Which
trying to,
will-
yeah, it keeps trying to give them bombs, and which is hilarious because if just skipping ahead to the end, how long that bomb took to go off, like what is that gonna do in any like situation for a person? You have to like wind up a bomb and then let it walk around for at least 10 minutes before it has any kind of impact.
Again, not to jump towards the end, but is the bomb also sentient? Like, is it like just waiting for the perfect time to
blow up?
blow up, or is it
I don't know because that
on a
fuse
set timer? Like,
that fuse ain't doing shit on that thing.
exactly. The fuse is just for show.
It's just
not,
for
yeah.
show, yeah. Maybe they're sentient too. Bombs are sentient.
Maybe.
It's
He
basically
was wearing Reeboks.
Chat says it's basically Grandmother Willow from from Pocahontas.
Oh, okay, that clears it up.
That's what the fungus is. It's Grandmother Willow.
Grandmother Willow. Okay.
Who's Mika though? Who's Miko? It's got to be Toad.
It's gotta be.
It's got to be
Yoshi.
Toad. Oh God, Yoshi! This movie sucks.
Yoshi was the best part of the whole movie.
For like the 5 minutes that Yoshi gets some screen time, Yoshi sucks. So Mario and Luigi escape to the desert. Iggy and Spike. Then we get this scene where Koopa is just like hanging out in a mud pool.
Yep.
And he says, "Do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and dirty at the same time." It's not. Mud is not clean. It's dirty. Only all the time.
Well, people do like mud bath cleanses and stuff, right? I don't know how that
I guess
works.
it probably has something to do with like exfoliating, right?
Yeah.
Right, Chad?
I mean,
That's what mud does.
we need a mud expert.
I need a mud pert in here, please.
But while we're talking about that, like, what is Koopa's deal with like being such a germaphobe? Like,
Oh yeah, that is the thing because the city's so grimy. He's like a super germaphobe. It's like Howie Mandel. If Howie Mandel and Donald Trump had a baby, you get King Koopa.
you get King Koopa. Yeah, it was like so. I just couldn't. No explanation. Like, I guess just like he was so above everyone else that I don't know. It was weird. But there was like several scenes where it was just like striking. He was like spraying his hands off, and he wouldn't shake people's hands. And when he did shake people's hands, he would spray them again.
Yeah.
And like,
He also puts his like
You're a
hands in,
dinosaur,
he
bro.
puts his hands in like some like wax stuff. Like it gives you like that wax. I didn't understand. It was like a freezing wax thing. I still don't understand this movie.
And then it like came off immediately. Like,
Yeah. It was
Oh.
stupid.
Weird.
Iggy
Just-
and Iggy and Spike are dumb right now, so they're idiots. Probably some of the better parts of this movie. Again, these two actors have been in really good roles before, and are committed to being the Iggy and Spike. They jump into the mud bath to blame each other for not catching the
just start
plumbers.
walking in.
And then Koopa decides to make them smarter, so he takes them to the de-evolution chamber and then evolves them to make them smarter. But instead of making them smarter, I think that this is a classic thing that people who try to be smart do, and I've known a lot of people like this in my life that will just start using big words in place of like appropriate words. Indubitably.
Indubitably. Your assessment is. I can't even think of the big word.
Their lines aren't even that good. Yes, I'm talking about you, Spencer. You use huge words to make yourself seem smarter. That's exactly who I'm talking about.
That's exactly who.
But yeah, that's all they do. Makes them smarter so that they can catch Mario and Luigi instead of being the idiots that they are. So yeah, that's fun.
But really, it kind of like turns them into like. I mean, you don't really get the sense that they get smarter, except in the way that like all of a sudden they're like, man, we're being like taken advantage of by this Koopa guy. Like maybe we're on the wrong side of the system, kind of thing. That's like the only way I feel like they got smarter.
It gives a little bit more backstory to me in thinking that maybe they were smart back when the original king was around, because you get a scene later in the movie where they're like, we've served with your father forever, and we're with him, and it makes me think that maybe Koopa de-evolved them at one point and made them dumb so he could control them, and now they're back to normal.
Yeah, maybe that's actually a really good point. Just he had to dumb them down so they would be like subservient to him, as opposed to like, we're not gonna be on your side. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Now you love this movie.
Man, I think that bumps it up at least 2 stars for me.
It flipped it completely. Daisy's all the whole time Daisy's been captured. She meets Yoshi, which is a pet. He is a like baby velociraptor is the best way I could describe it, or maybe a baby T-Rex. I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of like it seemed like, I would say it seemed more like Veloci than T-Rex.
It's no Jurassic Park, but the puppetry was pretty good. Like it was.
It really was. Like,
I want one.
I think they paid for that. I think I read somewhere that it was like at least $500,000 for just the Yoshi puppet, and it took like 9 people to operate it. So, but I mean, as far as like in comparison to some of the other like CGI and stuff, it was it felt more like Jurassic Park in the coming weeks than like Sea Dinosaur movie.
I agree. Somebody in chat says they're mad that they didn't showcase the Yoshi tongue. The tongue gets one scene.
The tongue gets a moment.
It doesn't eat.
It gets a little ankle action.
Yeah, get some ankle action. Man, just love me some ankle action. After I get a glug glug, I like a little ankle action.
Oh my gosh.
This is rated R, man. This podcast is rated R.
Bringing it, man.
I'm trying to, now I've lost all train of thought because of freaking Yoshi and the ankle action.
Yeah, you were at the desert. The guys, Spike and Iggy, were trying to capture.
They do.
But then they screwed it up.
and they get evolved, and then they find them in the desert somehow, and then they form a deal with Mario and Luigi to get them to Koopa's palace or get the rock back, because they figure out that who has it. It's Big Bertha, who has their rock, and they got to go to this dance club, which apparently there were like 50 real strippers or exotic dancers or sex workers, whatever you want to call them, that they were authentic, that were
no
in
way.
the scene. And the song "Walk the Dinosaur" was classic song. Open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. I love that song, personally. Mario and Luigi are wearing red and yellow suits. I think it's red and yellow.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
Mario's not even
Maybe
wearing
even
the
feminine
red.
suits. It's kind of like hinted at that they might have been like Spiker Izzy's like
Wives.
ex-wives or
Yeah.
something.
See, I think Spike and Iggy were had lives before they were stupid. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, they
We
have
need a spinoff.
we do. We need a Spike and Iggy spinoff. We get this scene where Mario seduces Bertha with a slow dance, and she's wearing the meteorite around her neck, and Mario is obviously trying to get that off of her. Like, he puts it in his mouth when he motorboats her a little bit. He tries to yeah, he's just trying to untie it the whole time, and then all of a sudden he disappears.
Boom.
Boom.
Yellow
Gone.
canary suit in a club, off the grid.
Gone. And then Lena and her goons show up at the club, and Bertha then helps them out by giving them these boots that make them jump high, using the bullet bill. Is that what that character is?
It's, swamp stompers or something like that.
Stompers, yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to get as much video game,
which is like those are the things that like up down that you got to dodge all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
platform.
I know all about it. But yeah, the bullet bill is how you like fuel those things. You get these little bullet things. Whatever. Chat, whatever. Chat just said, dude, Bertha's got some berjombers.
It was the most absurd like seduction that you'll ever see. He like went up to her, like tried to do like he first off he was like, "Don't worry, Luigi, I got this. Like I'm gonna seduce her. We're not gonna confront her and like steal it from her. I got this." And then he like goes up to her and like tries the normal technique, like sweet talk or whatever. She punches him. And then he like comes back and it's like, "Ooh, you like punched me so good. Can you punch me some more?" And that like lowers her guard to where they start this dance where he's like trying to get the necklace off of her. Just crazy. And then it apparently worked though, because she like immediately like switches sides and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you guys escape now," instead of like, "Where's that necklace that you stole from me moments ago?" Like immediately in love, I guess.
Mario's got that Riz, man.
I guess he's got the Riz. Has to.
With Daniela, Bertha, I'm sure he could have stolen Daisy from Luigi. I'm sure he could have gotten some Lena action in there. All of the above.
He just pulls, you know?
He just pulls. Mario pulls. That's what this episode should be called.
It makes sense. Like,
somebody said that this movie sounds sexier than Indecent Proposal.
you're not wrong.
This movie is sexier. I mean, with all the goo that's in this movie, there's a lot of fluids.
So much fungus. Like,
there's a scene where they're trying to, plug the pipes up, and there's just water gushing everywhere. I mean, it's a regular subreddit
steamer.
Oh my God. I looked down at this movie at one point and I looked at how much time was left and it still said 40 minutes. And I think I was just like, I'm done. I'm done.
That's one thing that, like, just speaking to the overall movie, like, it was apparent immediately that, like, they were trying to pack in just like so much. Like, the scene constructions were all like so short, and like we're jumping from this to this immediately, and it just like kept going the whole time and like nonstop. Like, the pacing was just like too much.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have any chance to like digest anything. It was just like, we're going, we're going, we're going. And it made the movie feel like it was 3 hours long.
This did feel like the longest movie of all time. And like, surprisingly, I don't even like on my notes, I don't even have a list of like scenes down. Like, it's just kind of like I have Koopa's palace and then I have like a list of 10 things that happen in Koopa's palace. That's how these scenes are all constructed. And you'll spend 20 minutes in Koopa's palace and nothing happens except that, like, so yeah, that's what happens after they go to that dance club scene. I guess the next thing is Koopa's palace. They get there by hijacking a garbage truck. Classic. You get the plunger where they plunger that guy in the face. That was great. You can knock a person out by plungering them to death. You free.
No. It took the wrench.
Oh yeah, the wrench.
He had to smack him with the wrench. The plunger was just for,
because Luigi lost all his tools.
Yeah, distraction or satisfaction.
That's right.
To remind us that they're plumbers.
They're
I
plumbers.
don't know.
Yeah. But they remind us again. They freeze the pipes in Koopa's palace, and then like they get on they freeze the pipes, and then I think we're an hour and 6 minutes into this movie. And then this is the first moment that we get them in their plumber uniforms. The overalls and the green and red.
The classic, like, Mario Luigi look. You
Yes.
finally get it out of nowhere. It's just a locker in Koopa's tower.
This movie's comparable
Probably from previous plumber alerts, since we've had so many.
Yeah. This movie's comparable to Batman Begins, where you don't see Batman in his suit until like an hour in, at least. I would compare these two, Christopher Nolan and these guys.
I mean, I get that point of comparison, but
no, they're the same.
I feel like in Batman Begins we got a little bit more substantial story before we saw, the Batman suit. But agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. That's what we're here to do. Mario and Luigi get on an elevator, and Goombas. Before I can even say anything, like I'm trying to be serious here. The Goombas start getting in this elevator and don't see Mario and Luigi, and apparently you can just hide behind them very easily. And there's like 10 Goombas in this elevator with them at one point. And there's elevator music playing, very soft, and Luigi gets this bright idea that he's going to make them dance. And so he like starts moving them back and forth. And he does it with every single Goomba in the elevator to where they're dancing along to this music. Just so they can get out of this elevator.
No, not so they can get out of the elevator. They could have got out of the elevator just fine. Like the dancing, him making these Goombas dance did not impact their escape of the elevator at all. It was just gratuitous and to establish something that's used later. Like, they weren't distracted enough from the dancing that, like, obviously they have no peripheral vision because they couldn't see them in the elevator, like when they're walking in. So they could have just escaped out of the roof at any time. Like, the dancing, I mean, it was funny, but it didn't make any sense again, which a lot of this didn't.
Koopa?
Sorry.
The Goombas are dancing again.
They're dancing.
Daisy escapes from her cell or her room after Lena, who is Koopa's girlfriend that he doesn't really like. After Lena tries to kill her. And this is when we
Stabs
get that.
Yoshi.
Yeah, she stabs Yoshi, and Yoshi gives her that tongue action. And then she runs into Iggy and Spike, and Iggy and Spike decide this is the time when they show her Daisy's father, who is the fungus. So big reveal, chat.
Big reveal.
Daisy's
Dun,
father
dun,
is
dun.
the fungus that is in the world. He was the first one to be de-evolved by Koopa, and he de-evolved into this fungus that is all over the city and is sentient and gives people bombs and
Catches cars.
And is like this big, like, it's like one ball. Like it like retracts up into this.
Gross.
It's the grossest thing. It looks like a snot covered testicle that descends.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty accurate. You're right. Snot covered testicle. And then she starts having a conversation with it, like it can answer her. And it like gets embarrassed and like goes back up in its hole. She says something like, "Is that really you, Dad?" or something, and it like retracts.
Bye.
So he sucks.
You know, it's always awkward that first like reunion between like the daughter and the father.
Yeah.
That, they've been estranged for so long.
You're
And
right.
so yeah, it's natural to be like, get back up in your fungus cocoon.
This is ultimately a movie about absent parents and the way that children deal with that. Divorced parents. Yes. I think that's what the commentary on Super Mario Brothers movie is. Oh, man, we have so far to go. And Mario finds the girls. There are missing girls. This is another plot point. Apparently, Iggy and Spike have been abducting women from Manhattan, and they keep getting it wrong. So there's like eight women that have been abducted and are just being held captive in this tower, and they're all stereotypical, like Italian Brooklyn women, like Daniela, and Mario frees the girls by getting on top of a mattress. By getting them all on top of a mattress and sliding down a frozen pipe as the Goombas chase them on their own mattress. This was a fun scene.
It was something. I guess that's the payoff for like them freezing the pipes, is so the mattresses will glide easier. Okay.
The best part of this scene, though, is when Mario sticks the wrench. You seem so angry, and I love it.
Yeah.
The best part of this is when Mario sticks the wrench in the hole in the tunnel, and that flips the Goombas on their mattress. It flips them, and so they crash. And then the Goombas start riding on top of each other to go down this ice slide.
Yeah. Goomba is the new mattress. Yeah.
I sleep on a Goomba every night. My Goomba's comfortable.
I mean, it belonged perfectly in this movie. Don't get me wrong. But just completely outlandish. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I do. Well, you were talking about Spike and Iggy like messing up so much and collecting all these girls from Brooklyn. Like one of the quotes that I wrote down from early on in the movie when they're like identifying Daisy is I can't remember whether it was Spike or Iggy, but he was like, "There she is, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head." So that's why we have so many women abducted, because that's how good they were at identifying her. So
nailed it. Also, just
Nailed
want
it.
to let everybody know that Princess Daisy's a vegetarian.
Oh, yes. We do need to, yeah.
She doesn't eat
She gets
anything with a
the steamed
face.
vegetables. Poor Toad takes all this time to go get her steamed vegetables, and what does he get in return? He gets set on fire.
Toad's the cutest Goomba of all time, though. He's very happy. He's always got a smile on his face. Even when he's on fire, I'm pretty sure he's still smiling. And blowing on his harmonica that he has the whole time.
Yeah. He's not dead. We'll
He's not
see
dead.
him.
We'll
He's
see him
coming
again.
back.
You think? No, we don't need resolution with Toad. Lena somehow gets the meteorite at one point during all of this.
I had to go back and watch. Like I this movie was so disjointed. Like it got to that point where she has it, and I was like, "How? Where did she?"
It fell
So
from
she
the.
got it in the club when they were playing hot potato with it to keep it
Oh,
away
that's
from
right.
the Goombas.
When
Um,
Mario and Luigi play football, say football plays.
yeah, and then they, incomplete pass, and it like goes right to her feet, and instead of like going for it and like trying to get it from her, they're just like, "Ah, let's bail.
Yeah.
Time to leave."
There's like an ending fight scene between Mario and Bowser or Koopa, and Lena during this time is trying to merge the worlds by going to put the meteorite back in its hole, and Luigi and Daisy are trying to stop her, and Lena does merge the worlds, and she ends up getting like blasted into this wall, which is awesome. And then the worlds start to merge, and Mario, I don't even know what to say. Like, they merge, and like Scapelli is at this dig site from earlier in the movie, and Koopa comes back, and he has a de-evolve gun with him, and he de-evolves Scapelli into a monkey. Monkey. That's how he says it. And then Luigi and Daisy get the meteorite out of the meteor. They demerge, and then there's a fight scene. There's a bomb. And it all ends where Mario de-evolves Koopa into a green goo. This movie sucks. I'm so disappointed.
I did the scene where Lena puts the fragment in, and like apparently she wasn't supposed to do that because she can't like withstand the power or whatever.
Yeah.
So she like turned into a skeleton and gets flung into the wall. But Luigi at that time says, "Man, she sure makes an impression." I think that was like one of the few quotes that I wrote down was like, okay, that was like, I mean, very like
That's like a
corny,
Leprechaun
but yeah,
line.
yeah.
Guys, this movie.
It's yeah.
Those were my favorite scenes of this movie. And thus endeth Mario. They beat him, and then when they're going back to the world, to the real world, Daisy decides to stay and be with her dad, who evolved back into a human, which has no explanation. Because that's where she's truly from, is from Dino Hatton. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. Yeah, she just feels like she belongs there, not in the
She's gonna be the champion. Yeah.
not in the human world, or not in Earth, or where. I don't even know what dimension it is. I don't know. She's gonna stay there, and that breaks Luigi's little heart. But then we get like a almost like Marvel after credits scene where they're just at home eating their spaghetti, and then Daisy pounds on their door, and she looks like she's ready for battle. She's got a gun and everything, and she needs the Mario Brothers, and that sets up for the sequel, Super Mario Brothers 2, The Turnip Story, which we don't get.
Yeah, meant to be.
It was not meant to be. guys, chat, Luigi, what am I missing?
I mean, as much as was packed into there, I think we hit like most of the high points. Like one of my biggest problems, I'll phrase it that way because like there's just so many problems. But one of my biggest problems is like, okay, so the merge started and that brought like 5 people back into like our Earth world.
5 people and the Twin Towers.
The Twin Towers, which was like, yep.
Too soon,
I don't know
Mario
about that.
Brothers.
Yeah, too soon. But yeah, that was like the only, and maybe we don't know all the details of what the merge is, like how long it takes or whatever. But it just seemed like, man, like you're waiting all this time for a merge, and like you don't have like whole army ready to get in there. You got like 3 Goombas, and Mario was one of the ones that came with you. Like that's
convenient.
That's what all this was for. You got two de-evolution guns and 3 Goombas. Like
take over the world.
That's all you need, I guess.
I wonder if maybe because Daisy and Luigi were messing with the rock at the time that it didn't fully work. I don't know.
I don't know. We will never know.
We'll never know.
You know?
We'll never know. You're
and
right.
it probably, even if we did know, it probably still wouldn't make sense. So,
I have a line from Mario whenever they get to Koopa's, where he says, "Great, a building with athlete's foot." I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes, I wrote that one down too. Great, a building with athletes.
And then trust the fungus.
Trust the fungus.
Which, if I ever get foot fungus, that's what I'm going to tell my doctor. I'll be like, trust the fungus, doc.
Yeah. I mean, it could work. Could work out for you. I don't know.
There's a thing going in chat right now, so I'll go ahead and ask it. Who is your go-to Mario Kart / Super Smash Brothers character?
Ooh, I'm gonna get some hate for this. Mine was always Donkey Kong.
Okay, mine was Peach. I'm a Peach man.
Peach man. Okay.
I used to rock with Wario because I liked how he could take a hit.
Yeah,
his speed.
That's why I always did. That's why I always did Donkey Kong, because I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether him or Wario was like the biggest, but
Bowser was the biggest.
Bowser is the biggest. Dang, I forgot about Bowser. Okay, so excluding Bowser and Wario, Donkey Kong could hit anybody else, and like that. So I was the sleaze bag who was like, I want to hit people and not have to worry about it. So yeah.
Did you have a Smash Brothers character?
Yeah, I'll get even more hatred for this. Kirby.
Oh, we had a Kirby in the chat, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, do we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, Kirby. I feel like Kirby was like one of the ones that like people looked down on a lot back in the OG Smash days.
I'm strictly an Ice Climbers kind of guy.
Who?
Ice Climbers? Is that what their names are?
I don't know.
I'm kidding. I never played Smash. I still kind of refuse to play Smash because I know I'll get really mad about it. Don't say I can't. Yeah. Peach is my character in. You can shut up, chat. The rest of it. Peach is my character. I don't play Smash Brothers, but I was trying to think of the ones that people hate, and I'm pretty sure the Ice Climbers are the ones that people hate.
Smash was always so triggering. People always hated on me because Kirby was the one that you could suck people in and launch them off the map.
I'm all about sucking on people.
Try to do exclusively.
Suck away.
Yeah.
Just like this movie. It sucks.
Suck away, movie.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I was playing on GameCube. I guess that's what the Ice Climbers are from.
Oh, never
I
did
probably
the
would have.
GameCube.
Is Star Fox in the original?
I think so.
I'll go with Star Fox then.
Star Fox. Okay.
Again, I was not a very good video. I'm still not a very good video gamer.
No.
What else? Do you have any other quotes or anything we might have missed?
The only other quote I wrote down, which was it caught my attention because it was just so in passing, um, but it was kind of where my head was at too. Watching the movie at this point is like Mario has completely like not even thought about, or I don't even know if he knows that Daniela was captured, which she was like back at the beginning before Daisy was. After the dinner scene, Spike and Iggy got her. So she's one of the missing Brooklyn girls at this point in the cell. I don't know if Mario is aware that she's gone or not, but at some point it's like brought up that once they get back to Daisy, Daniela's in this room, and he's like, "Oh, Daniela, I promised to take her to WrestleMania." I don't know,
That's
I
awesome.
like that line a lot. Didn't really make any sense. But it's like he completely forgot about her, and then he's like, "Oh," when he thinks about her, the first thing he thinks of is like, "Oh man, WrestleMania."
He didn't even know she got captured.
I don't think he did. Like, I
think
don't
he
think
did.
there was enough time for him to know that
Oh,
because all this happens in like 24 hours, maybe. I
yes.
don't know.
Everything in this movie happens within 24 hours. Has to.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. All right, let's get out of this trash movie and let's talk about some fun facts. So everybody was considered to play the roles of like Mario and Luigi and Koopa. Like Michael Keaton was approached to play Koopa. Tom Hanks was considered for Luigi. Danny DeVito, Bruno Kirby were attached to play. That was one that they were actually attached. Danny DeVito was attached to play Mario. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't write down a lot of the like who was supposed to play or who they wanted to play because it was like the longest list in the world.
Yeah, same. I saw that it was like so many people had been thought about. That I was like, well, that's not ever like super interesting to me either,
Yeah.
unless it's like something really notable.
Or like if it would have been like Danny DeVito in the role of Mario, I'm interested.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie. But I thought Bob Hoskins was a good choice.
Yeah.
Solid
When
choice.
was Roger Rabbit?
Roger Rabbit, I think, is 1988 or 89.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say Roger Rabbit was then. 88. Yeah, 88. But he's pretty much playing the exact same character. I mean, Bob Hoskins is also British, famously British, and like famously a like stage actor before he did a lot of movies and stuff. And here he is, in the role of a lifetime. He did.
Role of a lifetime.
He didn't even know it was based on a video game when he was filming this movie until his son told him, "Dad, you're in the video game movie," and he showed him the game. I still don't think he understood, and like I think to his dying day, Bob Hoskins said this is the worst experience that he ever had filming a movie, and that was echoed by Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo. Both of them said it was a nightmare. It was supposed to be a 5-week shoot for Dennis Hopper. It ended up being 17 weeks.
Yikes.
Yeah. And it was because the directors, who were a husband and wife directing duo, were always arguing, and like they would do things without telling the other person that they were going to do. John Leguizamo wrote in his autobiography that Bob Hoskins and him would get drunk just to make it through filming.
I wrote that one down. I was like, yeah,
That's
that makes
great.
sense.
I feel like Bob Hoskins had like a lot of injuries during this film. He broke his finger during the car chase scene. He wore a cast that was painted pink to look like a hand for the rest of the filming, which I didn't see. I never picked up on it. But again, this movie switches scenes every 30 seconds, so it's really hard to keep your focus on anything. He also claimed he was stabbed 4 times and electrocuted, and he nearly drowned in the making of this movie. So that's pretty cool.
Jeez.
The de-evolution guns are repainted versions of the Super Nintendo light gun accessory, the Super Scope. I don't know if you remember the Super Scope.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
I didn't notice it, but when I read it afterwards, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
that's
look
it.
Totally like that. One of the directors poured hot coffee on an extra's head because he didn't like the extra's costume. So that's
Dang.
I didn't know.
That's not the extra's fault, is it? That's the costume.
Yeah, I don't understand. One thing I wrote down too was, and I did not know this, this was the first Hollywood film directly based on a specific video game property. Didn't think about that, but it makes sense. It makes complete sense. I mean, video games weren't around that long, and people weren't really clamoring for a Pong movie or a Centipede movie.
I wanted to give it more grace because of that than I did, but man, I couldn't.
But I think this sets a precedent for bad video game movies for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about that. Let's see. What else did I write down? This is one thing I did want to point out to everybody in chat and everybody watching. An early draft of this script showed that Bowser only disguises himself as a human in the first 2 scenes. The princess character's name is Hildy, and Bowser wants to marry her in an attempt to obtain the crown of invincibility, with which to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. Actual game enemies such as piranha plants and thwomps make appearances. Toad accompanies the Mario Brothers throughout their journey as a main character. A baby dinosaur named Junior thinks Mario is its mother. Luigi gets raccoon power at one point. One of Bowser's lackeys tells Mario, your princess is in another castle. Mario and Luigi sing a song for Bowser, and Bowser ends up falling into a pit of lava. And it says, in other words, this draft is much more faithful to the games. So that's what they had. That's what they were working with early, and then we got this movie.
Yeah, there's a whole website, Super Mario Brothers Movie Archive, where a couple of guys who are like super into this movie have created like this archive of like the script writing process, a bunch of interviews with all sorts of people and stuff. I didn't like go down it too deep because there was a ton of stuff there. But one of the things that was very apparent is like the writing process from like start to finish for this was abysmal. Like, and maybe that script that you just mentioned is like one of the early scripts, but then there was like so many writing changes along the way, and the script that we got at the end is not even like largely the 2 guys that wrote like a lot of the script, from my understanding, that we ended up with aren't even credited as writers for it, like because of all the rewrites that happened after that. It's just like it ended up being like so disjointed and like I don't know, like I watched one interview with like the 2 guys, I don't remember their names, Dick Clement and something, but they're like well along in their years at the time of the interview, but they're like trying to recall like basically getting fired from the screenwriting process after, somebody else had already happened. It happened to them too. And like, they were just saying like, it was heartbreaking that like the script that they wrote that the directors liked, that kind of like sold the actors like to sign on and everything, isn't like so far from what the movie ended up being. So it just seems like, and I'm not sure if it was Disney or Nintendo or who like came in and like did all the cleaning up, but the cleaning up just made it like apparently just miserable. And that's what we ended up with. So
I found this. I posted the link in the chat, and just like glancing over this, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 scripts that got to it before it got to the final one. And I'm very interested in each one of these. Like,
they've got cool names.
Wizard of Oz fairy tale script,
Yeah.
the transitional sci-fi fantasy pitch, the Ghostbusters one, the Die Hard one, Mad Max, Disney Princess, Rainbow. These are all. This is fascinating. Like
The Die Hard one, in particular, the interview I watched, like I didn't have time to go into because it's a lot. Like you could dive deep into this, but the Die Hard one is named that because apparently there was originally with that script supposed to be like a Bruce Willis cameo in Koopa Tower where he's like in the vents or something like he is in Die Hard. So I thought that was really funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think the latest script from the interview I watched, like the rewrites happened like as soon as 2 weeks before filming. After like all this set design for, this sci-fi sort of dystopian place, and like they just kind of like went with the same set with changed script, and like it kind of like once you get more of an idea of all the changes it went through and like all the craziness that happened, it's pretty infamously disastrous from what I read, as far as like production and writing and stuff. So it kind of makes a lot more sense when we see this like just jumbled finished product that like, oh yeah, they went through like a whole lot when they were making this movie. And even after it was made, like post-production, I think I read that like this movie had one of the most like ADR, like automated dialogue replacement.
Mm-hmm.
After like in post-production, they had like the person that was working in post at the time said this was like the most that they've ever done in any movie that they worked on. It was just like a mess all around.
You've just kind of opened up a door for me. This looks like something that I will keep. This will keep me up at night. Going through all of this.
It's like, a lot. It's crazy.
There's a lot of deleted scenes on this website. There's some. Apparently there's an entire missing scene where Iggy and Spike do a rap in the club, and that is like and it's basically them talking about how Koopa, the party poopa, the poopa scooper, it's basically where they're just talking about how much they hate Koopa, and that's why there's a couple lines in the movie that go along with that we don't see because it got cut out.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm fascinated. Go check it out.
I think it was at least 20 minutes of deleted footage. Wow. I think.
I don't think it could have saved the movie, but check it out if you want. It's at smbmovie.com. And check that out. There's also some like merchandise on here too, where you can get some t-shirts. Trust the Fungus. I'm gonna get you a Plumber Alert t-shirt, I think. I think that's gonna be great. Yeah, this looks like an amazing website that's way more interesting than the actual movie. So somebody in chat.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed.
Making of documentary. This is what we're looking for, and now I'm back on board. I think Mario is one of my favorite movies that we've done so far, just because of this website.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty amazed.
I will say, you were talking about deleted scenes. The one that caught my eye on the list the most that I wish they would have kept in just for the payoff was the pizza delivery joke. Like throughout like these scenes is like ordering a pizza for himself to be delivered, and like we get a call later on at some point and he's like asking where the pizza's at, and then you get a call like towards the end where like the pizza is ready, but he's like getting into his fight with Mario, so he can't get it or whatever. apparently one of the deleted scenes was like the pizza being delivered to him while he's like devolved
To the
into a pile
goo.
of goo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man, I wish they would have kept that in there just for the payoff. That would have been so good.
This movie's way more interesting now. I won't lie. Uh,
Still not good though.
Still not good. I don't think any of this would have saved it. So,
No.
do you have any other fun facts? Anything that we're missing here? I really glazed over all of the ending scene, the fight scenes, and the back and forth and everything. So
I mean, there wasn't much there.
Oh, your pizza's ready. Not now.
The I was kind of disappointed. And this is just a side note, but the Alan Silvestri, the guy that did he's done a lot of music, but
Back to the Future,
notably
famously.
Back to the Future. I didn't feel like the music was very good in this overall.
Okay.
There was a couple of moments, but
It did feel the music was reminiscent of Back to the Future, though. There were during the chase scenes and stuff like that.
yeah, like I don't know. It just maybe that was more of just it felt mismatched because of the pacing of the movie or something. I don't know, but
the music felt
it definitely wasn't as good as Back to the Future.
The music felt more family friendly music to me, that this was supposed to be a family movie or a kids movie than what was being shown on screen. Because
Right.
I don't know if this is a kids movie. I mean, it's dumb enough for idiots like us when we were kids. We were dumb, and so we liked this. But yeah, watching it now, I'm just so confused.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the only note I had when I have that question, how could you make it better? I just said, make it more for kids. I don't I liked this movie as a kid because of some of the dumb lines that Luigi, mostly Luigi says. I think he was my favorite throughout all that. But yeah, the story was a bit much, with the whole parallel dimensions and evolving and de-evolving. I think that was a little much for my stupid head to comprehend. And
I think it was too much for most people too. I don't know this for sure, but it felt like the beginning scene where they had to sort of explain the premise out of the gate. Anytime that's included in a movie,
yeah,
I feel like that's a post-production thing where they're like, okay, this isn't making sense.
Yeah.
What can we do to help the audience?
They knew they had a dog on their hands there.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's rough. All right, what'd you rate it?
I gave it a 1.
I gave it a 1.5. And the only reason I gave it a half star was because I was really impressed with I'm always impressed with Bob Hoskins. I think he was super committed to it. He does a couple bits in this movie that I think are I think he's a great physical actor. If you've ever watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he does the scene at the end of that movie where it's very physical role and does these physical gags that I really thought, and I thought he was committed to it. There's a scene at the beginning when he's trying to not go into the portal thing, and I just loved that little bit of acting he does in that scene. I just really liked that. That was the only reason. Even in my review, I said the half star was for Bob Hoskins. So ultimately,
Nice.
I gave it a 1 with a 0.5 for Bob Hoskins. May you rest in peace. All right, so that's Super Mario Brothers. But one thing I did kind of text you about before we got on here is, are there any good video game movies out there? And
Are we talking live action?
I'm talking anything that you can, animated, live action, anything.
Okay. I didn't really think about animated too much. I feel like animated lends itself better to the storytelling.
Yeah.
Because as you see in this movie, well, no, I'm not even gonna say as you see in this movie. As you see in other movies, it can be hard to translate the fantasy worlds to live action.
And obviously too, because right now Super Mario Brothers is going to make $1 billion at the box office as a cartoon. People love it. Like,
Yeah.
it just makes more sense.
And I haven't seen it yet, but it kind of, just from what I have seen in the trailers and snippets and stuff, it seems like it kind of is going more along with the source material, like
Right.
a little bit more true to like the games. You know, you've got what you mentioned with that other alternate script, like Toad is kind of like part of the group, like guiding Mario. You know, you see that in
And
like the very first trailer.
He's a mushroom.
Yeah.
He's
So
an actual mushroom.
I think there's been probably a lot of animated movies. I didn't really think about those when I was considering the question.
There's really not that many. Looking at a list, there's really not that. Sonic's even kind of half.
I thought the
animated.
Sonic. I haven't seen the second one, but I thought
I
I thought it was okay. It was, 10 times better than this.
Somebody in chat said Mortal Kombat, which I would agree, especially
That's probably the only one of the live action. I looked at like a list, like, Resident Evils, like all those movies I felt like were pretty trash.
And they have nothing to do with the game. Like,
yeah,
I think that's another thing. Like, they veer off from the game a little. This one, present company included. They're just, here's a little bit of the game in here, enough to get you by, fan service, and I felt like Mortal Kombat was actually decently accurate to the source material, and it was fun. I think even going back now, I probably would not like it as much, but I love Mortal Kombat.
and that's a lot. Yeah, and that one's a lot easier to do too, because people are watching that to see the kills and like the fight scenes, like choreography, versus like, what if you go see a Mario movie? What are you wanting to see? Like Mario versus Bowser and like just fan service? Like
I just want to see a movie of him hitting bricks.
Yeah, that's the games. It's like you're stomping on these Goombas and like
Teenage Mutant
going
Ninja
down pipes. Like.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles isn't based on a game. It was based on a comic book. So people in chat are saying Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. E.T. also based. E.T. was a game after the movie, so that one doesn't count either. Resident Evils, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raiders. These are all trash movies.
I think there was one of the later Tomb Raiders that was okay.
Is that the newer one with Alicia Vikander? I never watched
probably.
it.
I think the Angelina Jolie ones were not that good.
Yeah. I actually I see Pokemon Detective Pikachu on here. I actually kind of like that movie. I don't know if you've seen
that one's
one.
But that one's real recent, right? Within the last like 5 years.
Yeah, that came out in 2019.
Yeah. So you're right. It was like probably like 25-year drought before we got like anything other than Mortal Kombat that was like half decent.
There's a movie on this list that I didn't know was based on a game. It's called Werewolves Within, which is basically like a, kind of like Mafia version game, I guess, that was out on the PS4, where you have to guess who the werewolf is. I saw that movie. It came out in 2021. It's a very like low budget horror comedy movie, but it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, Werewolves is like popular. It's like a card or board game.
Yeah, so
I don't know if that's the same thing, but
that's that movie. Prince of Persia, that was famously bad. Tekken, terrible.
Yeah.
These are all bad movies. I didn't know but Mortal Kombat's probably my favorite video game movie of all time. I'll still say it. And
I've rewatched those fairly. Is there two of them?
There's two, and then they made a new one in 2021. Okay.
I think I've watched all three. That may have been part of my 365 last year, is watching all of those. Mm-hmm. Or maybe just the original and the remake. But the original, it's not great, but it does give you exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
in the movie.
Well, video game movies are not going away anytime soon. Nights at Freddy's, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Minecraft film coming out, Borderlands film coming out. A bunch of different movies are coming out.
Here's a question along the same line for you. Have you seen the Last of Us TV show?
I've seen the first 3 episodes of it, and it's really good.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet, but from the internets, it seemed like that was a pretty good adaptation.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Maybe TV's the way to go.
Maybe TV is the way to go. And the more games that come out, the more episodic they feel. The more like movies they are. Even though I say that, like, how do you mess up an Uncharted movie? One of the most popular adventure franchises of the last 10 years, or an Assassin's Creed movie. Like, how do you mess those up? The story is good. I almost think Assassin's Creed needs to be a TV show, but
I agree. That movie was bad.
Uncharted should have been the new Indiana Jones, and they just screwed that up royally. So, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe TV's. I don't know. Maybe it's just too hard to adapt to film. It's weird because I feel like Sonic is a decent comparison to this because you don't really have a lot of story in the Sonic games, kind of like Mario. It's just you're going through levels platforming and stuff. But I feel like the Sonic movie was fun. It was decent.
I think that movie suffers if you don't have Jim Carrey in it, though.
Yeah.
Because him as Dr. Robotnik, it kind of lands for that movie. I think that movie sucks.
But it's got Marsden.
It does have Marsden in it. James Marsden, my favorite actor of all time. Nobody can beat him ever. But yeah, so that's interesting that they still keep pumping out these movies, and they do make decent money whenever they come out. Some of them, if they're not too terrible, like Sonic. It's got 2 sequels coming out, and it did pretty well. But I don't know. We're gonna keep seeing these movies, and hopefully they get better over time. Follow that Last of Us trend, and just get good.
Get good.
Get good, kid. Well, I'll go ahead and let you get on out of here, Joseph. Thank you again for joining me for one of the best movies of all time, Super Mario Brothers, 1993 edition. I look forward to doing another one of these with you soon, which will be soon. I'll keep you on here just because if you are a fan of this podcast or a fan of listening or watching live, please join us this coming Wednesday. We'll be doing it a little bit later. I think it'll be 7:30 Eastern time. Hopefully you're still good to do that, Joseph. But Joseph and his brother Steven will be joining me as we're going to go through the Tarantino movies, the Tarantino filmography. We're going to rank them. We're going to talk about them. And I think what I'm going to try and do is get us to argue a little bit until we get down to a consensus top 10 of these movies. I'd love for everybody in chat to weigh in on this as well, although it's ultimately going to be the 3 of our decisions on how we're going to rank these movies, so you all can suck it. Because our list is going to be the superior list, and nobody can break that. But yeah, join us this Wednesday as we talk about Tarantino films, and bring the heat. We're going to be talking about. I just did a rewatch of all these. So, and then next Sunday, we've got probably one of our bigger blockbuster hits from this year, Cliffhanger, starring Sylvester Stallone. So that'll be something to look forward to. I haven't seen Cliffhanger in a long, long time, so this will be an interesting one to talk about. But I do want to thank you again, Joseph, for joining me. And I look forward to talking to you more in the future about some of these other movies. So,
see you on Wednesday.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I'll go ahead and end stream now. I was going to try and raid somebody, but I don't know how to do that. So we're just going to go ahead and end stream. And we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.